Well, that was fun.
What'd you break?
This was a feeling I'm not used to.
Yeah,
Pep.
it's it's odd. Like, I mean, I try to black out for a moment just to be happy in the moment. I try to black out that this wasn't a World Cup tune-up game, and that this, I'm blocking out that this wasn't a great opponent. I mean, I think Bolivia could have sent a stronger team if it wanted to, for sure. But it was just nice seeing us score goals and be happy. It was just nice. I liked it. I forgot what it
Nice.
feels like.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
kind
mean,
of. There's not a lot, I guess. We should say this is USfanTV,
oh,
if you
yes.
weren't aware. So welcome, everyone. I'm Chris, or tonight I am Other Hat Guy. Tonight, joining us is Pat, of course, Normal Hat Guy,
I'll do your
and
thing.
TJ.
I am Pat, since we're
And
reversing.
TJ, I don't know, striped shirt guy?
I guess
Waldo?
without a hat guy.
Yeah, hatless guy.
And Mary Grace is here. She's just chilling out in her chair right now. So
Let us know if you have to feed her. We support that fully.
Hashtag USFanT.
Yeah, I mean, I think we might ask, where do we start? I think we start with Tim Weah.
Yeah, might as well.
Dude looked good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just his finish on the goal that he had on the third goal, right? But I mean, he looked fantastic, I thought, and to be able to see him go that long and get a look at him. I know we've seen him glimpses with PSG, which is amazing that we have an 18-year-old playing for PSG, but to be able to see him in our shirt do that, I thought, for me, he was outstanding. One of the many guys who I thought had a nice game. But
so wait. So you're shocked, and I don't know why, that a guy who is a fringe in PSG's 18, he's sometimes in their 18, sometimes not, plays against a Bolivia C team and is dominant.
I'm not shocked.
Boliviac.
I'm happy. I liked it. I'm not stunned by it. I understand how it makes sense, but I liked it. I liked Keaton Parks. I thought, my 2-year-old's making a surprise appearance on the show. Hey, buddy.
US fan childcare.
US fan childcare. Little guy.
Sorry. US
I like
care.
He's not much younger than the guys we saw in the field today. But yeah, Keaton Parks was good. Christian Pulisic looked kind of tired.
Yeah, I mean, Pulisic was probably one of the big disappointments of the night. On the whole, yeah, like Weah, some of his touches, especially early, were a little heavy. He did kind of settle down a little bit, but he was doing some good job, working with other players, doing some give and goes, some good passing, making some good runs, and his speed was definitely a problem for Bolivia. Now, yeah, we can counter all these things by saying Bolivia were crap. They didn't send a particularly good team. They weren't even as good as an MLS team or something, much less many of the opponents that our national team could face. So you can always kind of denigrate the work they did. I think the best things to me to come from the game really as a whole were we actually played some real soccer. We played the ball out of the back. You actually saw some passes. It wasn't just turn and dump the ball to one guy, Michael Bradley, in the middle, and then hope for something, or like lob a 40, 60-yard chip down the field and see what happens. There was some actual connection between the defense, the midfield, and the offense. So that was promising to see. Even if we discount it, I guess, as being against a lesser opponent, I think there's still a positive in that we haven't done a lot of that in the past, kind of against anyone. Even like
exactly
lower level CONCACAF teams that we just kind of rule over or should be just stomping. We've never truly tried to play a possession game, or we've struggled with it. Klinsmann tried to do some of it. We always kind of sucked, and some of that I think is down to this group of players has more talent than our previous collections, our previous 23s. But I don't know. To me, I guess one of the big positives, in a sense, was that we didn't need Pulisic.
No, I mean he had a few runs that I can remember where he looked like kind of himself. Um, he had a few giveaways, and he just, like we said, he looked tired. I think Alex said this a bit ago, but he was there to sell tickets and there to play in his hometown, or near his hometown, in front of his family. And now he needs a nice break because reports have him linked with Spurs again.
Who?
We're gonna have to talk about Spurs all the time. You realize that, right?
Even
this happens. It's
even last week's game against LAFC, he just didn't seem to be into it. Now, granted, all of Dortmund seemed to kind of be out of it last week, but this performance
it's been a long
last week,
year. Yeah, he's played way more than he's ever played in his life.
Exactly,
the dude needs a break. Now, that said, if we had made the World Cup, there'd be no break. But
at the same time, you'd have something else to charge that battery. Exactly. There would be a certain level of competition expected. That it's kind of like you may be tired as hell, but if there's 2 minutes remaining in stoppage and the ball suddenly pops open and you have like a 40-yard sprint to the goal, you suddenly find the energy to do that, whether you're dead tired or not.
I wonder if you look at it, and I know they have no obligation to do so, but I wonder if you look at Dortmund's starting 11 these last few weeks and how much more guys that weren't figuring in the World Cup figured into those 11 than those that were, and especially when you got down to games that don't matter any. I'll bet you if you look at it, you'll see at least a little bit of that. Guys that are going to be prominent in the World Cup versus ours, because Pulisic isn't. They could play him full and see what he could do more so, because it doesn't matter at that point. So I agree, though. I agree with the tired. So Spur. What is a Spur?
I don't know.
San Antonio?
I think on your boot.
It's got to be San Antonio.
One of the things I was going to say about Pulisic too, the hope is that it's not some of the pressure getting to him. That not only was this a long year, or kind of a long 18 months or so.
It was tough too.
Coming up on 2 months, he's suddenly become like the face of U.S. soccer. Yeah, I even watched AO presented the 2017 Male Player of the Year award to him tonight. And even that kind of looks like he was just sort of going through the motions. It was kind of like, yeah, thanks. I think hopefully it's just a matter of, what, I just need a break. I want to go home. I want to rest. I want to sleep a little bit. I want to not have people bothering me 24 hours a day, or that I have to be in training tomorrow and I got to watch what I eat tonight. And I don't know. I hope that it's just a matter of kind of exhaustion in a sense, and not a tiredness or something kind of growing in his personality.
Pressure building. Yeah, I don't think it is. I just think he's tired. These were kind of meaningless games. He's ready for a break, and he deserves one. So I'm not worried about it. Like we said, before in the last show, you can't take away too much from this type of thing. We have a game that's being coached by a guy who's not going to coach us, being played by a bunch of guys who may or may not be a part of the program going forward. I like to think a lot of them are. A lot of them, I think, deserve to be, and pretty excited about them. But you can be excited about individual performances. You can be excited about maybe something you saw. But from a big picture standpoint, none of this means anything. Except that every once in a while, it's kind of nice to play an easy one and beat somebody and build some confidence and be happy. There's nothing wrong with that.
There were still positives. Yeah. For as much as we'll knock this, it's more, I guess, to, I don't know, maintain some levity. Realistically, there were a lot of positive things to see. Weston McKennie did a good job breaking up passes or breaking up the Bolivian offense on playing U.S. defense. He did a good job receiving passes and then playing passes out of kind of the base of midfield, and then making runs to pick that up and further the offense. So there were a lot of positives to see from him. He was a little late on some tackles, but he's still young. He's still learning things. I mean, come on. Jermaine Jones was known to be late on plenty of tackles, so it's not like we haven't seen these things. It's not like guys
Coach
like that
Jermaine
can't
Jones,
be
by the way.
successful. Yeah. So I don't knock that. Tim Whale, like we said, had some poor final passes, but had a lot of positive things to show. And again, he's so young. I mean, this entire roster, what was aged 20, 22, I think was the average age or something like that. Josh Sargent, he had a few chances to score that he missed before that. Maybe you could say it's the week of or weekend of goalkeeping errors, but at the same time, that was good pressure
That was
on his
awfully
part.
similar, wasn't it?
And it was a great job to like knock that ball back to himself. Like I mean, he had to react very quickly to get his foot up to touch it at all, and then to play it back into the box where he could go get it. That's really positive to see. So there were a lot of individual things that I think we can be excited about. But yeah, as a whole, it's like any friendly. You want to see some positive things. You want to win just because you want to win, but like we're not going to suddenly, we can't honestly start talking about like, oh, we're going to win the next World Cup, ignoring the one this summer. I don't mean next as in 17 days from now or whatever the hell it is. But maybe we do have some promising players ahead. We're still missing kind of a full style of how we're going to play. The real plan of what our attack's going to be or what our style of defense is and what our actual, in-game style is going to be. So all these, we're still missing like big picture items, but we had some nice individual play to look at.
Yeah. I found interesting. I talked about, Grant Wall's got a new book out where it's called Masters of Modern Soccer, and he interviews Pulisic and some other people. But one of the most interesting chapters, and sorry, I'm going to say this, is the one where he talks to Chicharito, because he's got an hour-long or 90-minute-long interview with Chicharito and Juan Carlos Osorio in Denver. And the point being, Chicharito explains in great detail Osorio's idea of where everybody is supposed to be and how it's all supposed to work. And that is something we didn't
think about if we could have something like that. Yeah.
And we don't have now, obviously, because we don't know who our coach is going to be. And Alex was asking, do we think we're going to have a new coach by fall? I'm not 100% convinced we're going to be honest. Should we? Yes. Yes, we should.
I think the chances are pretty high that we will. Sarakin's contract is up at the end of June.
Yeah, I mean, the plan is that we're going to. That doesn't mean they're not going to botch it
very soon. Yeah, that's fair to say.
That's my issue.
But will we have someone in place? I assume so. I mean, it sounds like the Ernie Stewart thing is for real. That he is going to,
and he would be good.
Be the men's GM.
Yeah,
which I don't know. I mean, you could say he didn't do a great job with the Union. But he has a long track record of doing good things in Holland, and he has a great track record with the U.S. His name should help maybe draw some players.
Yeah.
If that comes into play, like maybe his connections in Holland could mean that if there are any in the Netherlands, if there are any dual nationals who might consider, he does at least have connections to help us there. But it's also odd to me that a guy we all kind of thought was probably positioned to be like one of the first choices for that. It's been so long, and now they're just bringing it home. Either it makes me wonder either he didn't really want it, or they still don't know what the hell it's.
I hope they've done.
The person in this job is going to do
exactly. I hope they've reformulated it in a way that Ernie goes, okay, yeah, now that's something I'm interested in, because it seemed like the problem was. From the beginning is I don't think they had an idea, or the scope was so limited that it's like, oh, you're going to hire the coach and that's it. Like, what's the point of that? So hopefully they've kind of
that's
thought through and changed that.
That was a couple of things I did read tonight as I was floating through Twitter during the game. Is it sounds like they've had to update that position to get general managers that they'd actually want involved. They've had to evolve the position, and I'm sure it'll come forward again to where it's more to Ernie Stewart's liking. Chris, you said Ernie Stewart didn't do a lot with the union. I think Ernie Stewart, he's working on a marginal budget. Hi, Mary Grace, by the way.
2 children that have made an appearance tonight.
Yes, and she's going to keep being that way. He got Bethlehem Steel up and running. He's starting to see some academy type work coming out through there, and he's running on a shoestring budget, so he doesn't exactly have a lot to work with there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The union struggling is really entirely his fault, but
no. But then again, and then I think of what's going to happen. I'm going to guess Sarakin's probably going to be there another 6 months or so, at least. And the reason why is if you're looking at anybody who's currently in MLS, Perea, Berhalter, you're going to let them finish the season. Why? Because you have no reason not to at this point.
That's a fair point. If you're going to go with an MLS guy,
yeah. And
Vanny, I mean, take your pick at any one of those guys you're going to look at. And those are the 3 I would look at first, obviously. But so why would you not let them finish the season? You have no reason not to. And then my last thought was, what was the takeaway from tonight? These kids are cocky. They're arrogant. They're going to start working together. They're going to start working together. They're going to feel like this is their time. This is their team. And even in these friendlies that don't mean anything, games they're winning, they're going to start developing that chemistry of this is our side. This is our team. You know, they're going to take ownership of it at an earlier time as opposed to trying to. I guess it's kind of the passing of the torch starts now versus starting a year from now, 2 years from now. Let me see what I had. One other thought.
Is there any? Do you guys feel like there's any? And again, silver lining on a crap situation, but is there any great advantage to what we've been given now? The opportunity to start just wipe the slate clean and bring in all these new guys and give them a little extra time before the cycle truly starts.
You know what? You're looking for a positive out of a bad situation. I guess that would be the positive part of it. We've kind of beaten that horse to its dead and then brought it back and killed it again. Is the last generation apparently really wasn't that good. We tried to give it hope. We tried to think it was going to be more than it was. That generation wasn't that good. So you start looking at the next one. And you get like you said, you've got plenty of time to see them make some mistakes, have some games. And I'm going to do my usual compare it to another sport. I think I've mentioned this after the Paraguay game. There's going to be nights with these kids. You're going to go, how did they make it out of U16 ball? How the hell is he with PSG? How is he with Dortmund? Things like that. And there's other nights you're going to go, okay, I see it. And that's part of being young and being put on a stage that you're maybe not fully ready for otherwise. But this group is going to come up as a group. And I think long-term that's going to be more beneficial. You're looking for a positive, and I think that's the positive out of it right now.
I mean, it can't hurt. I guess you could look at it that way. It can't hurt that they're going to get extra time playing together and that they've got maybe a chip on their shoulder to prove that we're not as bad as the previous generation, at least in the last cycle, made us look like. Yeah, I mean, it's not where we want to be, but this felt a lot better than the last few where I barely cared about. I didn't care at all about the Camp Cupcake game, and then the March games. I can't even remember now. I cared a little bit more about, and then this was good, and I'm excited to see what we do in Europe, especially against a very, 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 very good team that's going to need to be in. They're going to bring their A+ game to us because they're warming up for the World Cup. So France game will be interesting.
Although, and Camp Cupcake, you said that you took nothing away from it. Again. Chris talked about it earlier. You're looking at individual players. You're looking at segments. You're looking at what guys potentially could have some future with it. No, the guys like any of the older guys who've been there. No, of course not. But the guys who might be coming up. That was all you were looking at with Camp Cupcake. It's all you're ever going to look at with Camp Cupcake, and its preseason chance to get in shape.
I would have trouble believing Van Gaal will be the next head coach.
But amazing that would be.
I mean. I suppose, Ernie Stewart being Dutch, maybe you can say something there.
You're just a Dutch hater. Dutch hater.
But I don't know. I have trouble believing that that after what we've been through, that I question whether they're going as big this time. Um, this seems to me, the way this has been drawn out, that it may be somebody from MLS.
But again, and I saw somebody earlier on Twitter talking like, um,
Van Gaal, not to totally cut off though. Van Gaal is probably up there with like Wet Herrera for it. Might just be entertaining though.
Yeah.
I would still prefer.
I don't even know if he would be a great coach.
I prefer Herrera at this point for entertainment's sake. But that all said, is somebody earlier was talking about like the rest of these guys. They all need to go to Europe. They shouldn't. Nobody should be in MLS. I'm starting thinking about it. Let's see. You got Atlanta. You got a guy who used to coach for Barcelona, LAFC. You've got Bob Bradley, who's done a few things in Europe as a manager. These guys with, LAFC world-class training facilities, Atlanta, world-class training facilities, they're not far behind. Are they there yet? No. Do they need to jump and run on the next plane to Europe so they can go get buried somewhere? No. You got, and it was in reference, I think, to back from LAFC who scored the first goal. Tall dude.
Oh, you mean Walker Zimmerman?
Walker Zimmerman, yeah. Like, how much better coaching are you going to get than Bob? You could on a day in and day out basis than Bob Bradley at this point.
See, for guys like Zimmerman, I don't know that it's necessarily as bad, but he's playing. One of the points for why these young guys need to move is that you're almost more likely to get playing time in Germany than you are in MLS if you're like 18 years old. So in that regard, I am on board with the move over. I don't hate MLS the way like a lot of these people who kind of insist that MLS is just a retirement league or it's a losers league and nobody's any good after they go there. I don't totally buy into that. Was Michael Bradley better when he was in Italy? Sure, but maybe there were other circumstances that also kind of fit in there. Maybe it wasn't just that he moved to MLS. Anyway, whatever. I'm not getting into a Michael Bradley discussion.
People talking about Anthony Robinson and the need to cap tie him. I thought for a while there's no way he'd even be on England's radar, but then you see that England roster and you're like, maybe he's not far off. It's the England roster, and maybe they'll turn out to be excellent, but the England roster seemed like one of the weakest ones I've seen in
and that's kind of
a while.
back to my point earlier is why I was saying I think these friendlies are important, that they're successful, that it is this group coming together. He feels like he's a part of that group.
Yeah.
He's not even going to think of, I'm going to go play for England. It's going to be, these are my guys. These are my buddies. These are the ones I want to come up with. I think that's part of why they've, and you really don't have any reason to have Bradley or Altidore or anybody like that in here. It's your chance to start building your core for 4 years out.
And I got to say, I liked his speed for sure. He can cross the ball out of a left back. That's good to see because Villafana, he's been holding it down for the last year and a half, whatever it is. But he's getting awfully old at this point to truly be considered going forward. I saw somebody talking about Joe Corona before, like, what is he doing here? I assume he and Lehigh were pretty much out there as just kind of older hands, guys with a little more experience, both in the game and with the U.S. Because in both cases, Corona's 27, he'll be 28 in, I don't know, a month and a half, something like that. I just don't see long-term putting either of them in there because I'd rather move on to someone younger.
Hey guys, just to explain how cap tying works for some of you who don't know, 2 ways you can do it. You play a competitive game, and this was not one. The next time we can cap tie somebody would be the 2019 Gold Cup. So there's still a ways. You got to play in a game that counts, not a friendly. Or you get them to file the one-time switch, and then like Gideon Zalalem, and then they can't switch back. So those would be the two ways you can basically force somebody to stay. But if they came up through your youth system, they don't need to file a switch, and so you always have the opportunity to lose them then until you cap tie them. But yeah, that's how that works. What else do you guys think? What are on the chat? You guys are going crazy tonight, and I love it. What are your big takeaways? What's something that you think that because we're idiots, we don't know. We're kidding. You guys know.
Alex is laughing at Jonathan Gonzalez.
Yeah, that one.
No, Ryan, he can't switch back. He's theirs now.
The word "oops" come to mind for him, or
I mean, look,
he may end up being fine.
He wasn't going. Yeah, he wasn't going for the U.S. So I don't. I mean, I understand why he did it.
Who sent us the thing on Twitter?
I gotta look the thing. Hate him for it,
One of you guys sent us an interesting thing on Twitter that looks like it was a YouTube comment on some random video made by him 2 years ago, where he was talking about being torn between two things. And whatever video it was, it had nothing to do with soccer. It was pretty funny. I see if I can find it while you guys talk. But
torn between two worlds. Yeah, well, here I'll say, like, TJ, who were your stand-up performers tonight?
I mean, Tim Weah was good, obviously. Josh Sargent, I was pretty impressed with him. The goal, and it's funny, the goal he scored, everybody's, that goal he scored, but he set him up earlier. He had already noticed that this goalie was prone to that mistake, and he was going to make sure he played it out clean. And the first time he didn't, he scored. I was pretty impressed with that. Rubin, I was actually reasonably impressed with him coming out of the wing in the midfield as well. Some people were sour on him. Keaton Parks was fine. It's hard to take away against the team from Bolivia that all their good players aren't playing because they have their championship coming up this weekend. There really isn't much you can take away. The one curiosity I had was, it's just in this camp in general, is you got Alex Bono in from Toronto, but you don't have Zach Steffen.
Man of the match, right?
Oh, I saw somebody earlier, and I apologize who put it in the chat box. He could have had a lawn chair and a cigarette, and he would have had just as much work. I thought that was a great thing. So, but Zach, I mean, like I said, I was curious about Alex Bono in camp and not Zach Steffen in general.
Alex, do your homework. You're getting yelled at here from your dad. If you don't, you got to get it done. All right. You don't get to watch us until the homework's done. I can't believe we have to go through this again with you.
Alex.
Yeah, I have to agree with most of those. I did, Parks didn't have a ton to do, but I will say I did like some of his touches. He does seem to have a nice, like, fast and soft first touch, and that's something positive to see, because for a long time that's not been an American quality.
Yes, that is true. I can't think of who you might be thinking of. Sardis Altidore. But yeah. I actually don't think Josie's first touch is as bad as some people say. Jesse Zardes is.
Yeah. Josie can have a decent first touch. He often lacks the ability to have a soft first touch while doing holding a defender off him or whatever. Like, that's where he's not, I don't know, like otherworldly or something. He's like good US and not good beyond that, because when something else is going on, he kind of, I think, focuses on that and loses focus on dropping the ball off his foot. Or I should say, he just rockets the ball off his foot.
Do you think that touch is part of a conspiracy to destroy the NASL?
It is possible. Without Pro Rel, I think it will continue.
It's all.
Pat, who is your man of the match?
Maybe Weah. I don't know for Weah. I liked Weah. I liked Sargent. And I liked Keaton Parks. I don't know who I choose as a man of the match outside of those.
Mine is the referee doing his first international game, adding 5 minutes on a 3-0 friendly.
That was weird.
Why? Like 30 seconds would have been.
30 seconds was too much.
Can we talk about Weston McKennie's hair too? It took me a while to realize that was him. It's a dramatic choice. Change there, Weston.
That was a lot of work.
Yeah, that looked elaborate. Yeah,
that's what he's been doing with his time off.
I think he alluded to a haircut change coming on Instagram earlier this week, so we shouldn't have been surprised. But I'm like,
and if you're tracking that, Pat, you need to have more to do, honestly.
It's sad how often I just scroll through my phone mindlessly. Whatever. Even if I'm busy, just scroll.
Pornography. TJ Salas says still very unimpressed with Julian Green. There are things about him, like I see him do certain things, and I get why he keeps getting chances. Like, he does have a good first touch. He does seem to have a good eye for taking a player on. But it's a little bit, I guess, I don't even like that I'm going to say this. It's a little bit like Freddie Adu or something, where it's like he's just missing something that tells him, like, don't do it now, or like, there's a little bit of discretion or something that seems to be missing. Like, that was always my problem with Freddie Adu, was he never understood pass now, dribble then, or dribble now, don't. It was like he was always doing the opposite of what he should have been doing, because he did it all well, but he could never match what should have happened in terms of timing.
It also looked like, and you guys are saying this on the chat too, it looked like he's aged about 17 years since we've last seen him.
Yeah.
To be fair, hasn't it been 4 years since we've seen him? Just about.
He played in that Cuba friendly, which was our first day doing this. And that was the last time.
It was?
Yeah. We didn't even do a live show. I think I just recorded something, but that was
when I interviewed Peter Wilt.
Yeah, that was the same weekend. That was the start of USFanTV.
And for that, we apologize.
Yeah. For some reason we're still doing it.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, let's throw this one out. This came out, was it Saturday? I guess it would be, that the the joint bid the United 2026 bid without a vote, because apparently, as much as FIFA likes a good infrastructure project, even they're looking going, oh shit, even we can't do this much. That 5 of the sites or something are just not there.
I think we're getting it at this point.
I'm too cautious to say that about all of it. It does look more and more like Gianni, not yet indicted, Infantino is really trying to rig this effectively so that the U.S. wins. Well, the United bid wins. Because I think if it goes to vote, it does not look good for us.
Maybe not. I mean, it's like
they
do have massive,
because everything looked amazing. Everything looked amazing for us previously, right up until the vote, and that's probably until the third votes were cast or whatever. Everything looked pretty promising. So anything can happen. I'm not saying. I don't know. I'm not willing to say that the U.S. is going to get the World Cup by any means, but there are some things that look like Infantino and thus kind of FIFA as a whole are really trying to make sure that the U.S. gets it.
I mean, here's the thing. You look at, okay, on one hand, FIFA likes infrastructure because infrastructure is contracts and kickbacks. But like TJ said, maybe it's too much. On the other hand, nobody straight makes you money better than the United States. We still hold the record from '94, and it wasn't even the World Cup will be twice the size.
Technically, Germany surpassed us in 2006, but it took a larger tournament and 12 years to do it.
It's going to be even larger now, and and part of our ability to sell so many tickets is we have lots of Mexicans with money that like to go see their team play too, and then they go
Brazilians and Argentinians,
exactly. We got everybody,
Colombians, all the countries that lots of French people.
2 words, gentlemen, 2 words, and Chris, I guess. So Pat and Chris, corporate suites.
Yeah,
you're not going to find that many sites anywhere in the world that can have these suites that they sell for $100,000-$200,000 a shot. That are gonna keep these fat cats happy. That's where the money's gonna come in. The TV money's gonna be through the roof. It's not going to be that for Morocco as much as they'd like to hope so. What do they talk about? 15 billion in profit or what was the absurd number? I forget what it was.
It's something like that. I don't
and they
remember the
said
exact
it won't,
number right now, but yeah,
that's the number they're throwing out. They won't get that number, but they're going to get tons more than anybody else. And
the big difference I would say that really boosts potential revenue for a U.S. World Cup is, like we've talked about, FIFA hasn't received a non-Chinese or Middle Eastern sponsor since all the investigations. There have been no more, and people like companies like Coke and McDonald's and stuff. All these huge corporations that support them have been, are reconsidering their future. So, there is the chance if some big U.S. corporations, or say a U.S. bid wins, maybe some big U.S. corporations change their minds about the future of FIFA. And to me, it's all about, like, I think Alex said something about more graft in Morocco. I'm trying to see it right now. I can't find it. Somebody said more graft in Morocco. On the there's two sides to it. Like, there's more money in the U.S., so there's more chances to skim off. In Morocco, there's more stuff that has to be done in ways that FIFA loves to find kickbacks. Yeah, in a country that by statistically is more corrupt. So yeah, there's more chances to skim things out there. So even though that tournament might make less money, individuals may make more money off it. But maybe the higher ups like Infantino see it as there'll be more ways for them individually to get paid in the U.S. because the tournament will be so much bigger. I
still wonder, since Sessions.
When I try and think about the money, who knows?
When you're talking about the indictments too, since Sessions took over for Loretta Lynch, when the administration's changed, I haven't heard a word about anything.
Yeah, but those are just
nothing.
I don't know if they still care.
They probably don't, but at the same time, that district in New York will take care. They'll still prosecute it. They'll still do it. These take a while. It's a bribery case. You're still waiting to fully indict everybody, and especially considering probably the other half that they want to indict aren't going to get anywhere near U.S. soil anytime soon. So,
I guess even if you're getting some of the people you have indicted to talk, maybe it doesn't matter if you can't get the other ones to come here, since they're all hiding out in Switzerland. So, yeah.
I just thought that was an interesting thought that came out over the weekend, that they might be literally just an announcement as opposed to a formal vote and anything else, because Morocco's infrastructure apparently is that bad. I mean, it sounds like it's Illinois freeway level of bad.
I mean, they got a lot to do.
Speaking of graft.
They got a lot to do, and while on the face of it you can say there's a lot of time to do it, FIFA wants to see that certain things are in place now, and that there are concrete plans, no pun intended, to get the stuff that isn't ready in place. And it's a lot. There's a lot of things that have to be done for Morocco to truly show that they can host this. So I don't know, whatever, we'll see.
We'll know soon.
It's getting close. Yeah. Other things we haven't talked about, Argentina and Colombia maybe on the way this fall, October.
Messi doesn't come, does he? He probably doesn't.
See, I doubt it. If he does, I think I have to.
Miami was mentioned.
My guess is he doesn't. Being just out of the World Cup, who's to say that this isn't kind of the end of his international career too? So he could be. I'm guessing he won't be coming. Argentina, kind of like France or
they're going to bring
Spain.
Some great players.
Yeah, like they can bring guys that won't even go to the World Cup that are still like, oh my God, he's going to be there. There are guys who won't even make the 23 for France who would still beat the hell out of us if they really wanted to in 2 weeks' time.
Alex, you do have to give U.S. Soccer credit. They have brought in some big names for friendlies. this year, both here and Europe. So yeah, that's a positive.
Well, but to be fair,
agreed on San Antonio. We like San Antonio, except we don't understand why you can't order food after 7:30.
But to be fair, when you start getting these World Cup qualifiers in place, you always want to have one against a team that's decent that's not going. And that's where the U.S., Italy, the Netherlands, that's where they fit in this year. That's why France, I'll bet you if you look at the rest of them.
We had Turkey last time around. Yeah.
You want to have at least one against somebody who's of quality that you would see or close to of the quality you're going to see in the World Cup when you get there. So you want to have at least one of those. And the U.S. fits that bill right now. Chris, I'm going to disagree. I think if the Argentina Messi does show up because Adidas wants to make money.
Hey, I'd love it. I'm happy with it, but I don't know. I based on timing, I have trouble believing it, but we'll see.
With Colombia, you might see Hamas.
Maybe.
And David Ospina.
Yeah.
Let's say it was nice to see him resurrect his career at Bayern this past year, wasn't it? Didn't he go to
solid?
Yeah.
He was good. I thought Bayern team was the best team in that tournament. I really do believe it. They were the best team in the Champions League. They got beat by Real Madrid. I know over 2 legs. There was obviously a boneheaded mistake there, but I watched the Champions League final, and I would have rather seen Bayern there, honestly. I thought they were more fun to watch. Plus, it just seems like, I don't know that we have the time to get into it at this point, but it was really not satisfying. Like, I know you love to see the Scousers lose, Chris, but
I didn't want to see Real Madrid win either, but
the way Real won, which, Ronaldo claiming credit for everything at the end, and Sergio Ramos destroying Mo Salah and perhaps Karius's brain too. I'm convinced that maybe that elbow to the head was responsible for the insane mistakes that he made, because how else otherwise, unless it's just the pressure that ate him alive, I don't know. But it was not a satisfying Champions League final. And no one's talking about the fact that, it feels like, at least no one's talking about the fact that Real Madrid's done something really, really fantastic. It's they got away with something and everybody's angry. It just felt like everybody was angry after that. But if you go on Twitter, you'll feel that about anything. So,
well, I mean, to be fair, Ramos, he's nothing but a massive shithouse. I think that was the best analogy I heard talking about him. Is he's a massive shithouse. That's really all he is. So, would I want him on my team? Yeah, I'd want him on my team.
Probably, yeah.
But he's still a massive shithouse. And when you have an MMA commentator doing a complete analogy of the takedown and putting the skill to it, it means it's dirty. Grant Wall, it was fucking dirty.
Oh, it was absolutely dirty.
Yeah,
absolutely dirty.
Yeah, I'm not saying he meant to dislocate his shoulder or anything, but he clearly held his arm and took him to the ground and then rolled over it. Come on, you don't do these things by accident. Not at that level.
I saw tonight somebody had posted a YouTube clip of all the times that Ramos has destroyed Messi over the years. And you go, and that's where, like I said, that's where you lose the benefit of the doubt. There is no way Ramos is anything but a thug. The only one who thought that was a clean takedown, other than MMA, might have been Bill Lambier. I'm pretty sure he said, hey, that was good. Or Marty McSorley. That might be about it. But beyond that,
and guys, I mean, they're right. The big news is that no Nicholas Bentner in the World Cup. The Lord has fallen.
So sad.
He will tell you that it's not going to be as good of a World Cup without him, too.
Well, and it won't. But to be fair, it won't be. Now, here's what I want to see, and I think we did see it in one World Cup final, but I really want to see in a cage match, De Jong and Ramos.
Oh God.
But just one-on-one. Hell with the rest of it. Just the two of them, and who could destroy the other one first?
Well, Kevin Prince Boateng would be another one to throw into that group. Just complete scumbags. Nigel de Jong and Kevin Prince Boateng are two of my most hated players.
Are you good with Jerome?
Time.
You like Jerome and you hate Kevin Prince?
See, I don't really. He doesn't necessarily bother me. I don't think he's as much of just a scumbag cheat. I mean, he's a bit like
Pepe. Yes, TJ.
They're a bit like Ramos, where they're just out to injure people.
Yeah, Ramos has clearly stepped up his game since Pepe left. Christian wants to know who are our 10 changes for
yeah.
next
People
two
keep
friendlies.
asking for that. We've talked over it every time. Oh God, I don't know. Clearly, Pulisic's going to be one of them. I'd like to see guys like Corona and Lehigh move because, to me, they're just.
We know what they do.
Yeah. We know what they do. They're too old. I'd kind of put Villafania in there too. If Anthony Robinson can stay, I'd put Villafania in there. Now maybe we need a backup left back.
Alex Bono and Walker Zimmerman won't go.
I would assume, yeah, they'll probably.
That's why Bono played today, I assume. Who comes in then? I don't know.
Yarbrough for Bono?
Maybe.
Is he pulling from MLS? That was the rumor, right? That it was going to be a few more MLS names added.
The expectation is there will be more MLS players.
So Steffen?
Then it would be Zach Steffen.
Yeah. Who else would we really want to see?
Was it?
I would like to see Jesse Gonzalez actually get a game.
Get rewarded.
After filing his switch, and it seemed to be pretty clear he was going to shot for the Gold Cup, and then would he get hurt? I can't remember. Would he get sick? What happened? And he lost it. I'd like to see him finally get something. Like get some kind of reward for coming over.
Does Kellen Acosta come?
I would like to see Kellen Acosta back for the U.S.
So there's some
Tyler Adams.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyler Adams, Darlington Nagbe. We're overloading the midfield again, but
yeah.
I'm not as sold on Darlington Nagbe as you guys seem to be. I'm not. I think there's better in the midfield already that I want to get more of a look at than I do with Darlington.
Yeah, again, Nagbe's a guy we know what we have there. So.
Yeah, we know what we have. My issue, if you want to call it that, is he is one of those borderline guys that he's 27 now? 20. I think that's right. So he's in that kind of borderline stage of will he be too old based on what we have coming up anyway? I mean, I'm well on record saying anybody over about 26. Thanks.
Yeah, why?
There's no need for you. If we need to fill some places come the Gold Cup or something, okay. But otherwise, I'd rather start focusing on the up and comers.
But do you need some steadying hands? More so than what we saw tonight.
I think you do,
especially against France. Somebody like that who could who could take you apart 6-7-0 if you don't have some steadying hands that kind of been in these kind of games before.
Does he bring Michael Bradley or somebody like that? I doubt it, but I wouldn't be stunned. I don't think if a couple of those types of guys were included.
Would you, Jeff Cameron?
I would, but
I think the bridge may be burned.
Yedlin, forgot about
that. Yeah. We weren't even thinking about Yedlin. I wouldn't mind seeing Kenny Saif come in.
Isn't he hurt again?
I don't remember right now. Maybe.
I thought he may be, but
if we can't get him, I would like to see Paul Arriola.
The nipple would be good.
We need some wide players. My only issue, I love a lot of things Arriola does. He just has to work on his crosses.
I think Wood. I'm starting to be convinced unless Bobby Wood goes down to Bundesliga and actually does something, I think he's done. I
think John Brooks needs rest at this point. Maybe.
True.
Probably since he's just back, really.
Just let him chill out. We kind of know what he got in him.
Especially when, we've got Carter Vickers, we've got Miazga. I would like to start looking at the two of them in a central pairing and see what happens. Palmer Brown, he did, I guess, a few nice things tonight, but there wasn't anything truly stand out, which
he too could have had a lawn chair and a cigarette and would have been fine.
Yeah, pretty much. It's on the one hand, it's a little hard to say like how great your defenders were when there's so little defending that has to be done. So, it's not terrible that when you can say you didn't really see him most of the time, but it's hard to say that I'd move him up over anyone right now. I didn't see anything tonight that says like, oh yeah, no. I mean, Miazga very clearly in his recent form looks like a possible captain. Like looks like one of those guys. Even if he's not wearing an armband, he's going to be somebody out there like leading the charge.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we're getting kind of to the end of our show here, but just to kind of recap it kind of feels good to be happy about things, like we're not, unrealistic here. We understand the situation. We know we're not going to the World Cup and we're in this situation to play a bunch of kids because we kind of have to be, and we know the Bolivia didn't send its best. But still, it was okay. It was kind of fun. You can't take away too much from it, but hopefully these guys are forming some bonds and kind of learning where everybody's going to be, and the new coach, whoever it is, can do something with this. And I think that there's a lot of promise here, and there's a lot to be excited about going forward. And I do not think we're going to miss the next World Cup because they might expand it anyway.
Hunter has an interesting question. Is Robin the best Dutch player since Cruyff? Alex says Robin van Persie. I would say Dennis Bergkamp's better than Van Persie. And Bergkamp might get it for me. The only other one that I can think of offhand who I would consider would probably be Wesley Sneijder, who I think had some bad luck in terms of timing injuries.
Better than him.
I would probably put Bergkamp.
And actually, Rob, I mean, he had bad luck and everything, but Bergkamp and Robin are head.
Sneijder. God, it's now been quite a few years, 8 years ago ish. That dude could like pull strings on anyone. Like his control of kind of central midfield. He was phenomenal. I think some injuries and maybe some personality issues, not uncommon amongst the best Dutch players. I think kind of doomed some of his peaks. But my feeling was, he was incredible. I wanted him at Arsenal for so long.
TJ, isn't Memphis?
Bergkamp's probably. I would probably put Bergkamp as the best player since Cruyff.
I think Memphis is Steve Harvey's son-in-law, isn't he? In the weirdest,
something weird like that. Yeah.
Steve Harvey. People are asking if Manuel Neuer is going to play. God, that's a huge question right there. He's on one hand, he's Manuel Neuer. On the other hand, he hasn't played all year. No. And it's not like there's a huge drop to Ter Stegen.
And they've got Ter Stegen like they really need him.
Seeing you guys are all Dutch haters, Edgar Davids.
I'm not a Dutch hater. I like the
more fun in that country than almost any other.
I liked Edgar Davids like a lot. I hate Nigel de Jong, but Davids, like that guy was awesome too. But I wouldn't say he was better than probably Dennis Bergkamp.
Since we're talking about
it's hard to say like, oh, a defender is amazing or whatever, like that I'd put him as the greatest player ever.
It's we're kind of
started looking at
off topic here, talking about the Dutch and the Germans, but I think we're going to do this for the World Cup. I think we're just going to show up and it won't be about us. It'll be about whatever's going on and the World Cup. So expect not a lot of U.S. talk and a lot of other talk soon. Probably after we get through these next couple of friendlies on the 9th. I assume it's World Cup or bust for this fine show.
I'm guessing there won't be a whole lot about Mexico over the course unless we're laughing. I'm just going to throw that out there. So Fox, if you're looking for somebody to cheer for Mexico, probably not going to be this show.
I do think they're going to make it out of the group. I think they're going to finish second and make it out of that group. That's my prediction.
I will not be hoping for that.
I'm not hoping for it. I'm predicting.
I will give.
I think it's a pretty good.
I will give a little hint. You can guess what I'm hoping Mexico does this summer.
Like France '98 for us.
Yeah.
Didn't Italy have one in there too, where they completely melted down?
Chicharito fucks Chucky's girlfriend or something like that. And
was it
some real locker room?
Yeah, drama. just before they go.
Wasn't Italy like? Was it 2010 or 2010? Would they have one where they just completely went France on it?
Yeah, Italy was last time out,
was
right?
It 14?
That was it.
Yeah, it was
they were and then France was the time before that where they went completely.
Actually,
they wanted to like riot.
The winner has gone out in the group stage the last few in the next World Cup the last few times around, right? So I don't see Germany going out in the group stage.
I don't see Germany doing that,
but you know,
I think there's a far better chance that Argentina doesn't make it out of the group stage, and that's not because it's not because I don't believe they can't. It's just that they're much more. One, they're so dependent upon Messi, but two, they're just so much more volatile than say Germany. You know, the egos could start coming into play, and I mean, ultimately, that's always been the Netherlands' problem.
They're exactly the opposite of Germany. Individually, there are several players better than anybody Germany has. Collectively, Germany is Germany. So that's why Germany, I think, will win it or come very close. People are saying, we're not watching, obviously, but people are saying Mexico looks like shit right now. I mean, I hope.
Who cares? Good
for them. I don't know how you say Wales in Spanish, so vamos Wales.
Chris and I are different in this way. I feel like TJ is probably closer to me than Chris. Chris will hate you with no end. He is relentless with his hate. I'm like, fine, we're not in the World Cup. Mexico can do whatever they want. I don't want them to win it or anything, but I don't really
support
care.
My enemies.
But you like actively hate your enemies. Like you will actively root against them. I'm kind of indifferent toward them right now.
They're Mexico. Who gives a shit? They're one of 32. They're one of 32 teams. I really don't care. You know, whatever.
Pride is a good thing.
But I do look forward to the World Cup in that sense that we can probably get Chris fired up on Mexico and just let him go for a while, and that'll make the show worth it in itself.
Like if you ever wonder, like Chris is the type of guy who like carves with a knife on a toilet stall, like fuck Rafa Marquez or something. If you ever wonder who's writing that stuff. Why? How are you just showing up now, Anonymity? We've been doing the show for an hour, and you're just getting here now. You need to be on time.
Anonymity. Okay? We're pretty sure Chris thinks the whole world are his enemies. We're pretty sure he's part of Tinfoil Ted's conspiracy against U.S. soccer.
How is it going to take down the NASL? Oh, NBA playoffs. That's a good call.
You'll find out.
That's a good call. All right. This is USFanTV. Normally, we do the shows on Tuesday nights, but we're doing a post-match show because we played tonight. We're not going to do a show tomorrow night. Maybe we'll see you later this week. We won't see you Saturday. We've determined that we can't do a show for you on Saturday after the Ireland game because we're both not going to be able to do it. But maybe we'll see you later this week with a preview of that game. We'll definitely see you next week at some point, and then for the France game, maybe we will be able to do something. So
that one looks much better for me.
Yes, that I think we may have a post-match show for you. We have a website. We have the social media. You should hit us up there. If you want to talk to us, we like Twitter. That'll get you the fastest reaction from us, I think. We have YouTube, but you know that because you're watching this show. If you haven't, click subscribe. We love you for doing that. I think most of you guys have, but we got a few more viewers, a few new people here tonight. So welcome to you guys. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you understand the weird jokes that go on in the chat. Takes some getting used to, but whatever. TJ, do you have any final words?
Yeah, we talked about the NBA playoffs. We talked about the Mexico game. Nobody mentioned the Stanley Cup final. Just pointing that one out there.
We got a score? How are the Golden Knights doing?
5-4 over the Capitals so far, with 4 minutes left in the third.
I must say, I do really enjoy the thing that all of Vegas is doing on social media. the no caps. Everything they're writing is in lowercase. I'm kind of enjoying it. Yeah.
I wonder how the llamas are doing. Speaking of Las Vegas, but hey, that's another story.
Chris,
I also enjoy your hashtag on the cancer story.
Oh god. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen, so Clay Coyman, former U.S. national teamer,
awesome mustache.
Probably best mustache, some of the best hair.
It's like if Kenny Powers played for the U.S.
A little bit. He's like a blonde Kenny Powers.
Yeah.
Or was. Anyway, he's got pretty advanced prostate cancer. So I put something out. There was a nice story about him on Twitter, and I put something out, and I made up some hashtags in support of him. I said, "Pray for Clay." But apparently that's like
you didn't click that one though to see what it really.
I didn't try any of them in advance. I thought I was probably just making them up myself. I was like, who has like CLE? Apparently there's like some shootings in Cleveland that like people are also doing pray for CLE. So yeah, that may look a little odd to people. So sorry if anyone sees that.
If you click the hashtag and you like,
I did not check my hashtags beforehand.
There's one that stands out. So that's funny. Do you have any other final words, or is that it? Are you done?
You're done.
All right. We'll see you guys soon. You're done.